Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Marquee here on Cinefanatics. My name is Robert Adams.
I'm Chris Adams.
And tonight, first Marquee of 2024, and now this has become like a yearly thing. Now that we've got the pace down of how this show, this has become a yearly thing. Yeah, now that we've gotten down the pace of how this show works, and that would be that the first Marquee, for the most part of January, is going to be ranking our most anticipated movies for the new year, except for last year where we decided to do an impromptu Friday the 13th ranking because there was a Friday the 13th in January, not realizing there was also one in October that would have been more appropriate, but
I take no blame for that.
Yeah, well, of course you don't. You have nothing to do with that. Anyways, that is the game plan for tonight. So before we commence with the actual rankings, streamlabs.com/cinefanatics. You got any questions, comments, issues, complaints? Let us know there. If you would like to tell us what movies you're most anticipating, you can do that as well there. We'll read those off as far as like your picks. Granted, please keep in mind, we are ranking 39 movies on here. This is going to be a Fast and Furious ranking, even though there's no Fast and Furious to rank because it's not coming out this year. Probably next year, I think. We'll see. That depends on a few things. But yeah, you got anything you want to draw our attention to? Throw some numbers with some zeros after it on the Streamlabs. Also, patreon.com/cinefanatics. If you feel we are worthy of your support and you have the means to support us, please hop on the tier that's good for you. There's a $1 tier that gives you access to our Discord and the $5 tier that gets you access to the trivia hangouts and the movie watch-alongs. This coming Wednesday, we'll be doing a movie watch-along of Captain America Civil War after tagline, so hop on that $5 tier. Even at the $1 tier, you get access to the Discord, which on the Discord, there is a channel for the Marquee that we typically will list out all the movies that we're ranking, like there is currently right now, even though I think I've added a couple more movies to this list since I posted that on Discord. So, oops.
Whoopsies.
Anyway, so there's a lot to jump into here. Before we get started, I would like to look at the chat. We got Merc with the Movie Blog, Jeremy Miller, William Harold, and Chris Adams, and Robert Adams all here in the chat. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. Very much appreciate seeing y'all here at the top of the show. Let us know your thoughts as we're going through this, and we will be clicking and shouting y'all out and whatnot. So, a lot of fun. Anyways, before we talk about this year, let's do something really fun and delightful. This is probably like one of my favorite parts, is let's look back at this time last year when we did our most anticipated of 2023, and let's see how this ended. Sort of. We're not going to go through all the movies, but I just want to kind of highlight a couple of the like standouts that I think is going to be kind of funny. So looking at this, we had S tier like Quantum Mania.
So last year's list here.
Yeah, I don't know. Creed was pretty good. Mario was good. Evil Dead Rise I really loved, so that one definitely deserves to be S tier. Guardians Volume 3 I would say is good S tier. The rest of S tier, yeah, they all are rightly ranked in my opinion. What do you think of S tier?
I think S tier as a whole is pretty solid. I mean, Quantum Mania, Quantum Mania is good. It's by far not the worst thing that Marvel has done, but
Mm-hmm.
S tier's pretty solid.
A tier, you got Cocaine Bear, which was okay. John Wick 4, which was really good. Air, which has a different logo, but Air was really good. I would probably bump Air to S in my opinion. Asteroid City, I didn't see that.
I did.
Yeah. Indiana Jones was okay. Mission Impossible, Marvels was pretty decent. Killers of the Flower Moon was pretty good.
I mean, obviously for the A tier, like I didn't see Cocaine Bear, so it's kind of a pass for me. Asteroid City, yep, that seems about right. Like, I mean, we're looking at S and A tier right now, and most of these movies that are in here probably fall in. If they're not in my top 10, they're falling within like the top 15.
Yeah. So we got Scream 6, that was good. Ghostbusters 4 or whatever. Yeah, that didn't come out. In fact, we will see this again here in a little bit with an updated image. So Renfield was okay. Haven't seen Beau is Afraid. Fast X was okay. Little Mermaid was pretty good. Elemental was good. Haunting in Venice and Dune 2, another one that did not come out, but we'll talk about here in a little bit.
Some of these movies I forgot even came out this last year.
Yeah. Is that 65? You definitely didn't see that and really was not that excited for it. Blue Beetle, I feel like did pretty well. Wonka was really good. Gremlins 3, that did not come out last year, and it's not even on the slate for this year. So Shazam could have been a little bit lower.
Is 65 on this list? I don't even see it.
Yeah, that's the second one in C.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Haven't seen Magic Mike. Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, I know it was a good movie. It's just not like our type of movie. So Transformers, Flash, Ninja Turtles, Saw 10. Like I rightly put Saw 10, or now known as Saw X, down in D tier, which was a good level of excitement because the Saw movies had just been falling off. But yeah, if I was to rank this now, Saw 10 would be shooting up towards very close towards the top of like at least horror movies of last year. What is that? Hunger Games? Didn't see it. Rebel Moon would be at the very bottom, probably under Paw Patrol. Aquaman was okay. You saw the Mansion.
These so like going through some of these real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And like especially in the C and D tier, Wonka is a lot better than the C tier. Gremlins 3, that didn't even happen. Dungeons and Dragons is probably appropriately ranked. I forgot there was a Transformers movie, which that would probably actually it was fine. The Transformers movie was actually pretty fine, so I would say probably in the C tier actually for that. Flash was also fine. Probably up a little bit more. Ninja Turtles is ranked about where we thought it would be, based on our enjoyment of it. Gran Turismo is funny because that should actually be a lot higher because that movie is actually really good.
Yeah.
And what is that next to Rebel Moon? To the left?
Hunger
Games. Yeah, we didn't see that. And Rebel Moon is F tier. Aquaman, a lot higher. I like the Aquaman movies, so that should actually be a lot higher. That's
so
fun.
You saw Haunted Mansion. You thought it was pretty good?
Haunted Mansion's way above F tier.
Yeah.
Haunted Mansion's actually really good.
Expendables, I hear that was right. That was properly ranked here.
Yep.
Craven, another one that hasn't come out yet, but it's probably not going to be too much higher than where it is right now. And of course, Paw Patrol.
Paw Patrol.
Anyways, that was the fun. That was 2023. We will be doing a ranking of like our top 10 of 2023. We'll be basically bringing back the podcast in a different format. So keep an eye out for that. We will have a date soon-ish for that, but hopefully before like the end of this month, I'm trying. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's jump into what are we anticipating for this year. Let's go ahead and Carl, hit it.
Yeah, so no rules on this one. Johnny's got the night off. This is going to be kind of a free-for-all, basically, where anything can go wherever the heck we want it. We're also not polling the audience. This is our opinion. This is specifically our list, the two of us, because like we did for 2023, we're going to look back on this one at the beginning of 2025 and kind of figure out if we were right or wrong on our anticipation.
Yep. So those of y'all who may not be familiar, this is a tier list. This is our own board, so it's not the tier maker or anything. So we're going to be ranking these movies from S to F. S is the ones in this case that we're really looking forward to, that we're eager to see. Like we're going to have a hard time sleeping the night before because we're just so darn excited to see that movie. And F is the one that, even though we're running a movie YouTube channel, we're probably not going to go see it, or we're going to be pulling some teeth to go see it. So.
F tier is the ones that we're going to have a hard time sleeping the night before because we're just going to be so anxious about the fact that we actually have to go see that movie.
I could tell you right off the bat, I already know one that is going to go straight to the top of S tier, and I know one that is going to be this year's Paw Patrol. Actually, I would probably rather watch a Paw Patrol movie than the one that I'm thinking of.
No, because Paw Patrol was on there as a ongoing joke. We were never going to see Paw Patrol. This movie that's going straight to the bottom of F tier that movie is a joke.
Yeah. I also want to say, like Jeremy's sitting here mentioning Roadhouse and Monkey Man. We don't have those on this list. So Roadhouse looks really good. Monkey Man, we just saw that. That was the trailer that came out today, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So my only thoughts on that trailer is last year we got the, was it Sisu was the Swedish John Wick, and Monkey Man, we've got the Indian John Wick. So every year we're getting John Wick from a different nation.
Different part of the world, John Wick, which, hey, if they all end up being a part of the same universe, that'd be fun.
That would be funny. And there's a giant free-for-all. John Wick and what's his face from Taken, and then
all the Wicks.
You can get like all of the Liam Neeson, all the characters that he played. Anyways.
Jason Bourne shows up for some reason.
Yeah. Anyway, so let us jump into this. I need to have...
So we're going in release date order, right?
Yes. Let me make sure this is set correctly. I don't know where I stuck that. There it is. Okay. All right. So first one that we're talking about. So originally I was going to put Mean Girls on this list, but Mean Girls has already come out and I've already seen it and I'm no longer anticipating it. And your level of anticipation for that is like, okay. Well,
technically I haven't seen the new Mean Girls yet, so I could still rank it, but I don't have high anticipation for that movie. So
yeah. So kicking off this list will be coming out February 2nd is Argyle. So and this is all going to be based off of like what the dates are as of like right now for the most part. There might be one or two that may have switched dates and I just didn't realize it, but I'm going to be as close as possible. So
that's a movie that we are going to both see and review within the next week.
Yes.
Literally within the next week. Like by next Friday, we should have like a review up for it, potentially.
This looks interesting. This is Matthew Vaughn, which Matthew Vaughn does like these fun spy type movies very well. Kingsman. It was like what he was trying to do kind of with X-Men First Class. And then, of course, you got the Kingsman movies. So this just seems like another kind of like offshoot for that. Looks like it's going to be a lot more fun, I would say, than the Kingsman. But there's this air of mystery to it.
This one definitely feels a lot more, in a way, more casual than Kingsman, if that makes any sense to the audience. I think this cast is absolutely stacked looking. It's exciting. The premise, the trailer is a lot of fun. The combo of Sam Rockwell with Bryce Dallas Howard going on these misadventures. Meanwhile, you have the potentially fictional world, I guess, featuring Henry Cavill, and there's this cat thrown in here too. Like this whole thing just looks like it's going to be a fun time. And again, that cast is absolutely stacked. I myself am sitting in the A tier on this one.
I could see that going to A. I don't think it would be very high in A, so I expect it to potentially move around. But I'm okay with sticking it in A for right now.
This is coming from someone like, just so everybody out there knows my taste, I was not a big fan of the Kingsman movies. They're just not necessarily for me. But this also looks a little bit different than those movies were.
It was the cartoonish hyperviolence.
Yeah, a lot of the cartoonish hyperviolence just wasn't for me in Kingsman. This one doesn't. Obviously, they didn't give away anything in the trailer. Like I don't think they gave too much away in the Kingsman trailer either.
No,
but I would say it doesn't look like it's going to have the same kind of specific tone that Kingsman had necessarily.
Yep. Next movie coming out, one of the two movies coming out February 14th. It's the one that we all are waiting for eagerly. It's Madam Web.
We all asked for a movie about this character.
This is like my first familiarity with Madam Web was her appearance in the 90s Spider-Man cartoon. I didn't know, I wasn't aware of Madam Web, the character from the comics until then. And of course, now I know her from the comics as well. This is one of probably the least Spider-Man characters that needs their own movie. And this is like also the same thing I've said about like all these villains getting their own movie, Kraven getting a movie, like Venom getting his own movie. I understand. That's fine. Venom has his own comic book. He's very successful. Madam Web, as far as I remember, has never gotten her own comic book. Morbius had his own comic book. That's cool. Kraven, again, as far as I can tell, as far as I remember, he never had his own comic book. So
He had his own runs where he was like the central focus in regards to a Spider-Man story, but never like his own. Yeah. The thing is that this is like a step above that El Muerte movie they were going to make with Bad Bunny.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, that completely crashed and burned. They just pretty much canceled that entire project, which a lot of us could have gone, no duh. Listen, I would have given this movie a pass nice. I would have given this movie a pass if the trailer at all made it look interesting, and the trailer has done no service to this movie whatsoever. I am not excited about it, and I'm pretty sure this movie is going to flop and die just like her mom did while she was studying spiders in the jungle.
Wow.
F tier.
I mean, the only reason I have any kind of shred of like excitement for this is it's a movie based off a comic book character. And at this point, I would actually say I'm probably more excited just to see how much this movie's going to flop. So, otherwise, yeah, bottom of D, top of F. I could go either way with that. I mean, again, F. I almost want to say F is a movie I just really don't care about at all.
I don't care about this.
I have the F tier movies that even though, again, like I was saying, we run a movie YouTube channel, I'm probably still not going to go see it. This one, I know we are going to go see Madam Web, unfortunately, but
I love this. Sister-in-law worked on Madam Web, and the vibe everyone has is, who is this movie made for?
That's a great sign right there.
Yeah, that's a good sign.
I mean, D. Do you want to go D?
No, I want to go F.
All
right. I mean, you're listen, God bless you. You're trying your hardest to give them some benefit of the doubt. This movie's not going to be good. I'm not like actively rooting for movies to fail, but in a sense, I kind of am to a degree for some of these Sony Spider-Man movies, because it's high time we get all the Spider-Man property back to Marvel.
Y'all
Who knows a lot more what they're doing with the property than Sony has.
Y'all can keep Spider-Verse, but everything else, give it back to Marvel.
Except for Spider-Verse. Live action Spider-Man goes back to Marvel.
Yeah. Next one also coming out on February 14th is Bob Marley, One Love.
This one's interesting. Yeah, so I think I know me specifically, I've obviously heard music from Bob Marley. I think pretty much everybody has heard some of Bob Marley's songs, a few here and there.
And if you haven't heard any, it'll be all right. Just
nice. For me, this would be an educational type movie where I'm learning about Bob Marley's life, because I'm not one who has like looked into Bob Marley and everything that he stood for and who he was outside of just his music, or even with just his music. So to a degree, that has me a little bit excited for this. I'm not like overly excited because, again, I'm not someone who is like a diehard Bob Marley person. So, you know, if I was someone who was like just nonstop loved Bob Marley and listened to his music all the time, I probably would be super hyped for this movie. But I would say for right now, I would say a good moderate B tier for me.
Yeah, Kingsley Benadir looks like he's going to be really good in this.
Yeah, that's true.
And I feel like there's a lot more like positivity about this movie and how well this movie's going to be than there have been for other like musical biopics of the past year. Like, for example, did you remember that there was a biopic for Whitney Houston that came out like last year or whatever?
I do. I don't remember really ever seeing the trailer for it, though.
Yeah. So I feel like this is going to be a lot more positive. And yeah, again, kind of the same thing. I know a small handful of Bob Marley songs, the ones that are known like throughout the zeitgeist of pop culture, got heavy radio rotation, but I really don't know anything about the man himself. So I'm interested to see this. I do like music. This would probably be pretty good. You said you put this in B?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's about where I'm thinking too. Good old B for Bob.
I think the two of us usually have like a pretty good eye for like what movies that we're interested in. We kind of have like the same kind of feelings towards a lot of these. So
except for horror, which you will find.
Except for horror. Yeah.
We are going to get to some horror movies on this list. Just so you guys know, if you're not familiar with how we do this situation, I don't care about horror movies, I'm never going to go see probably the vast majorities unless they're like a PG-13 and Jordan Peele's name is attached to them, or it's an R and Jordan Peele's name is attached to it. Probably not going to go see most of those horror movies for me. So whatever he ends up ranking most of the horror movies you're going to see on this list,
that's my opinion. Mine alone.
His opinion stands for the cinefanatics as a whole on horror movies. So just know they're all F for me based on excitement levels.
So next one, coming out March 1st, is one that's been on this, was here last year. That would be Dune Part 2.
Dune.
Yeah, I forgot we did that. Here's that, like the first one, Part 1, was good. I thought it was very well made. It's just slow, and it's not the type of sci-fi movie I feel like I can jump into just because of like how drawn out and overly epic. Not a criticism on Denis Villeneuve's filmmaking ability. I like Denis Villeneuve. He makes good movies. And
he actually did a fantastic job with that first Dune movie. Like visually, cinematography, everything. He did a fantastic job with it.
Yeah. Just like I'll go see it, but it's not one that I would say I'm overly eager to go see. Even though it looks fantastic, I love the additions that they got in this movie this year. Especially, what's his face? Elvis, Austin Butler.
Yep.
Playing, was it Frigga or...
yep, sure.
Characters.
Frigga, Thor's mom, yes.
Not Frigga. I know it's not Frigga.
Listen, I'm specifically excited for Christopher Walken being a part of this. Because there's an interesting connection with Christopher Walken being a part of this.
Fayed Ratha.
He was in that music video for that song "Weapon of Choice." I forget the artist who does that song, but
Fatboy Slim,
yeah, that music video "Weapon of Choice," where they talk about watching how you walk, or the worm is gonna get you. Specifically referencing Dune in that song, and it's funny that Christopher Walken was in that music video for that song, and now he's in this movie. I think that's oh god, yes. Bonk.
William Harold, I'm going to need you to be very cautious with that graboid bucket there.
Yeah, I don't want to hear reports that you're going to the emergency room afterwards. So the first Dune movie, I enjoyed it. I definitely need to. I haven't seen it. I haven't watched it again since seeing it in the theater. I'm definitely going to be partaking in another viewing of the first Dune movie comfortably here at home before going to go see Dune 2, in which case I will be able to take in and understand and really encapsulate everything that was the first Dune movie here in the comfort of my own home. And I think after revisiting that first movie, I will be much more excited for this one. For that reason, I'm putting this in the A tier, saying I expect to be super hyped for this going into sitting down in the theater and watching it. But for now, it's a comfortable A for me for the Dune franchise.
So for me, I would say like probably C. Like, yeah, the first one was good. This one's going to be good as well, but it's just not my type of movie. For sci-fi, like for last year, I would say my type of movie for sci-fi was definitely like The Creator. The Creator was really good.
Creator was really good. Have you watched it again since our theater viewing?
No.
Yeah, so I think we're both going to end up watching the first one again before we go see Dune 2. And I imagine that both of our hype for it will go up after rewatching the first one again.
Well, you said A, I'm saying C, so I'm going to split the difference, put it in B.
And then I don't know if we're shifting any of these around by the end of it. Like, I think
we may.
Yeah, either that or people are just going to have to understand like everything in the B tier is equally rated in the B tier. So we're not saying that we're looking forward to Dune 2 more or less than Bob Marley, basically.
Potentially. Next one, Kung Fu Panda 4. I haven't seen, neither one of us have actually seen any of the Kung Fu Panda movies. So I have absolutely I'm not anticipating this at all.
DreamWorks Animation is one that I feel like this is a good year for me to catch up on. There's quite a bit of the DreamWorks animated franchise that I need to play some catch up with. So For that reason, Kung Fu Panda 4 is, I put it in the D tier. In the off chance that I get to watch the other Kung Fu Panda movies before seeing this one, meaning we're very likely probably not going to go to the theater and review it. This will be one that we end up catching kind of on the back end. My excitement level for Kung Fu Panda 4 might rise after I see the prior 3, and you'll notice that there will be several movies on this list that kind of fall into that bucket for me as well. And some of them I rate a little bit higher, some of them I rate a little bit lower, just based on my initial feelings towards those movies.
Yeah, so I agree, D. As long as it's still higher than Madam Web, which is weird.
There's going to be a lot of movies that are higher than Madam Web.
I'm more anticipating a movie from a franchise I have not seen, and it's on its 4th iteration, versus a comic book movie based off of a SpiderMan property.
Oof, crazy.
That's low. Anyway, so that's coming out March 8th. Another movie coming out March 8th, and this is going to be my first, I'm ranking this alone. That would be Imaginary. So this is, there's basically 2 movies that are based off of like imaginary friends. This one and If. We'll talk about If in a little bit, but Imaginary.
Is this year's Friends with Benefits and No Strings Attached?
Pretty much, yeah. Volcano, Dante's Peak, Armageddon, and Deep Impact. Yeah.
The core.
Yeah. So this one, so what's funny, this one is being directed by Jeff Wadlow, who I would say he's been kind of like hit or miss on some of his movies. He did The Truth or Dare, that horror movie, which was fine. It had some okay moments to it, but otherwise, like that goofy ass smile, which is he did Kick-Ass 2, which I thought Kick-Ass 2 was really good. Yeah, that smile, not the other smile. We'll talk about the other smile here in a little bit, but Fantasy Island, which completely forgot that was a movie that was made.
Deplane.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of eager for this, even though the trailer makes it look like it's more of just a possessed teddy bear than it is an imaginary friend. Maybe the teddy bear's possessed by the imaginary friend. I don't know. This looks like it's going to fall in line with movies like Megan, Dolls, kind of like smaller offshoots of Child's Play. Like
I think there's definitely
Toys,
there's definitely still some cocaine involved in this, even if it's not on screen.
Yeah. For this one, I'm going to put this as a C.
I agree.
Oh, good job.
Look, I will say for some of these horror movies, like I'm not going to see it, but the concept wise, it looks interesting. The trailer looked interesting, so.
I can tell you there's one horror movie that he's not even going to watch the trailer for.
Absolutely not. I'm not looking forward to any discussion being about that horror movie on Twitter, where things can come across my Twitter that I don't want to see.
Yeah.
Please don't retweet overly violent, grotesque, and gory things on Twitter.
Yeah.
I feel like this shouldn't have to be said.
So I know it's not one of the ones that we're ranking on here, but I know we got the trailer for Roadhouse like yesterday or something. It looks okay. I've seen the original. Chris, you haven't seen the original Roadhouse. I've seen the original. It's a fun movie. It's a good like late 80s movie, but yeah, I mean, I'm interested in this new one, so.
Yeah, I need to check out the original and then give the new one a look-see whenever.
So coming out March 29th, first of 2 movies scheduled for March 29th, and this is also another repeat to the most anticipated. That would be Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
We actually have a name for it this time instead of just being Ghostbusters 4 or Ghostbusters Afterlife 2.
I was not a huge fan of Ghostbusters Afterlife, and it was probably because it just didn't feel like
Weirdo.
a Ghostbusters movie, with it being moved out of New York into middle of BFE, Oklahoma, whatever. This one is returning back to New York. Therefore, my level of anticipation and hype is back up for this movie. So, yeah, I would put this A tier.
I really enjoyed Afterlife. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought the new characters were a great addition. Paul Rudd just feels at home, given the nature of the original Ghostbusters being some comedians who are also doing sci-fi action at the same time. I really enjoyed Afterlife, and I think that they're going to be doing a lot of fun things with the next one. I'm saying A as well. Also, Slimer returns.
Yeah, didn't we get like some kind of like Slimer knockoff in the last one, or am I thinking the 2016?
No, Afterlife had Discount Slimer in it.
It was like Gruber or something like that. I don't know.
Is like Grouper, he was a fish.
Not Grouper. He was still a slime ball, but
yeah.
So next one that's also coming out March 29th is Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. It's hard to be hyped for this movie after the masterpiece that was Godzilla -1. Like I wouldn't say I'm like a huge fan of the monster verses. The couple of them, the last one, Godzilla versus Kong, is all right, I guess. It had some fun moments in it, but otherwise, I have like no anticipation for these.
I mean, we can almost do like a tier ranking of its own with just these MonsterVerse movies. Kong Skull Island is probably the number one for me. But
agreed.
Godzilla versus Kong, yeah, like you said, it had some fun moments and it had some really cool stuff that they were doing. But I still think it was a lot better than was it King of the Monsters? That Godzilla movie that actually had everybody
except Godzilla.
Well, no, it had Godzilla. It had Ghidorah. Like Ghidorah, Mothra, Rodan, all of them were in it. Mm-hmm. Like, the fact that all those crazy cool monsters were in that movie and that movie was just okay to me is kind of unfortunate. And Godzilla versus Kong didn't do enough for me, I think, to hype me up so much about another Godzilla and Kong movie. But the trailer did have that really cool sequence where they're running next to each other. Even if a lot of people think Godzilla shouldn't run like that, that's fine. I don't care. I'm like, yeah, exactly. I'm not sitting here. I'm not as big of a Godzilla head, I guess, as people who might have a problem with how Godzilla moves. But I think it's going to be fun. I mean, freaking Kong's got a big hammer. What are you going to do with that?
Big monkey got big hammer.
Hammer or axe or whatever it was. It's going to be fun.
And he's got like a Transformer / Winter Soldier arm.
Yeah. Goofy.
It's the power glove. It is awesome.
It's goofy. It's over the top. It's going to be a good time. I have it in the B tier. It'll probably be just another. It's fine. I would love to be pleasantly surprised by this, and this is going to be one of those that we look back next year and be like, wow, that one was actually S tier. That's crazy. B for me, though.
So I have this in D. I'm not. Like, I'm looking forward to this more than Kung Fu Panda 4, but.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it C.
Unless they are able to achieve what Godzilla -1 did, which I can already tell by the trailer is probably not.
No.
Godzilla -1 really was probably the gold standard for a modern Godzilla movie, in my opinion.
Yep. So this next one's going to be fun because this is the first of two that we automatically know exactly where this is going. F tier.
F. Bottom. We're not even going to talk about it. The first Rebel Moon just
all at the end. Just going to put it way over here.
Make a
Didn't
statement.
we do that last year? I think we did that with like Paw Patrol or one of the other movies. We knew. I think
not
I
in
did
the final
like
image.
Maybe Craven or something.
Not in the final image. But
yes, Jared, that is Ghostbusters next to Argyle.
Yeah, Rebel Moon. Listen, we're a movie YouTube channel. We want to give every movie a fair shake, but then sometimes, just sometimes, there are movies that I have to take a stand. I have to take a stand on business and say, I'm really honestly going to go out of my way to not watch this movie.
Yeah.
I don't. The first movie was just not good. Rebel Moon was just not good. And like we got to see it for free. We got a free screening basically of it. And I want my money back. I need to be paid for my time having watched it. I don't. God bless Zack Snyder and him trying to, make things. Let him continue to make things, but gosh darn it, I have absolutely zero interest in seeing Rebel Moon Part 2.
Okay, so it looks like It looks like we have one where the date may have changed. Let me see.
Well, you want to go with whatever we just have it for right now, and
yeah, I'm just gonna go with where we have it right now because this movie I do want to talk about it for a little bit because there's gonna be some stuff about it. Well, I'll talk about it here in a minute. Next one we're gonna talk about. This is another one that's up to me because this is Abigail. We just got a trailer like last week for this. This is a movie that is being made by Radio Silence. If you're not familiar with Radio Silence, they did the movie Ready or Not. They also did Scream 5 and Scream 6. They do good stuff. Like I'm a big fan of Radio Silence and their work. This movie looks fantastic. Like she's a vampire. There's a bunch of people trapped in the house with her for like 24 hours. And they're all thinking that they're like kidnapping her for some ransom. And like, they don't know that she's a vampire. And so now they're all, instead of being like the awesome kidnappers they are, they're all like running for their lives. It looks phenomenal. It's got a stacked cast to it as well. Giancarlo Esposito, Melissa Barrera, God bless her. She's still getting work. Screw Spyglass. And like, who else was in it? Catherine Newton is in this. What's his face that played Blob in Origins?
We've done this before. Is his name not Kevin Durand?
It's
not Kevin Durant.
It is.
It's like he's the basketball player, you know,
Kevin Durand.
Yeah, literally what I said.
Not Durant. Yeah, that's what I was getting the William Harold Giancarlo Stanton's in it. No, not the basketball player or football player or whatever sport he plays. But good reference, though. I understand what you're referencing.
Yeah, my thing about this is, again, it's for me right now, it's going to be F tier because I'm automatically predicting that this is going to be a movie that does not fly in the things that I like, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
The trailer does look like a lot of fun, and if it turns out, I don't know if they gave a rating to this yet.
It's R because the trailer was a red band trailer because they use the F word a lot, so it's definitely R.
So I mean, he's obviously gonna see it before me in this case. If it turns out that it's got, you know, it's a type of, if it turns out that it's a horror movie that can fly with me, I'll give it a watchy. I'll give it a watch. I'll give it a look. See, I don't know what my brain's trying to say right now, but if not, you know, like most horror movies, it's not on my list, not on my watch list.
Yeah. So next one coming out, I guess it looks like April 26th, is Challengers. This one's one I believe that was supposed to come out last year but got delayed due to the strikes. So this looks interesting. It's Luca Guadagnino. Luca Guadagnino, I feel like, has done very well so far. Call Me by Your Name. His remake of Suspiria was fantastic. What's the Bones and All? I thought was very well done. Mm-hmm. So it's not a horror movie this time, but this is in regards to like a giant tennis match where a champion is having to compete in a match against his like the former lover of his wife and coach. So basically there's like this like love triangle thing going on. The clips or the pictures and stuff that we see make it look like that it's going to be heavily relying on some risque threesome that is going to be in this movie. Sure. But I mean, the movie, like the idea of this movie about the tennis match and everything sounds interesting. Stars Zendaya, who's doing very well lately. So
yeah. Zendaya is the only B. Yeah. Zendaya is the only reason I'm probably even moderately excited about this. Obviously love her in the more recent Spider-Man movies. She is fantastic in Euphoria, as much as I would not necessarily recommend that show for people to watch who don't want to be absolutely depressed. She does a fantastic job in that show, and all of the Emmys that she has won for it are absolutely deserved. Zendaya is, by all intents and purposes, a fantastic actress. So she literally alone is the reason why I am super interested in this movie. Now, of course, you got Mike Feist, I believe, is also in this, and he was in the more recent shoot. My brain is blanking on the musical West Side Story. There you go. We got it. We got there. Known from the more recent West Side Story. This all around does have, you know, some solid talent in it. So for me, it's not super high up. I do have it in the C tier, C for challengers. So we'll see on the back end. This might be one of those movies, like we did come beginning of 2025 that I'm going to be like, I was super wrong about that.
Yeah. So I was thinking, I was saying B also. You said C.
I said C.
Okay. So, I mean, B or C?
I mean, it's not that I have a lot of these in a specific order, but I do have it kind of at the bottom of my C tier. So you can probably put it either bottom of B or top of C, whatever suits your fancy.
I'll put it C, but this is definitely, this is one I would actually say I want to move like Godzilla and Kong. I'd rather watch Challengers than Godzilla X Kong.
Yeah. So the thing is, we're going to put these in their respective tiers, and I think what's going to end up happening is I think we're just going to shift things around inside their tiers. We're not going to shift things from tier to tier once this is said and done.
Yeah. So the next one, this is one that there's going to be some controversy with. This is what I'm going to say. This is one I feel like people who like pay attention to movies, who are aware of what movies are coming out. There hasn't been a trailer for this as far as I know. This one's going to have some, I feel like people are already alerted to some problems that this movie is going to cause on the internet, namely Twitter. And that is going to be Civil War. This is the next movie directed by Alex Garland. So I'm going to read like what Wikipedia says. The film follows a team of journalists who travel across the United States during a rapidly escalating second civil war that has engulfed the entire nation.
Too real.
It basically sounds like it's going to be based around like a president who's setting himself up as like a dictator rather than a president who was voted into office. There might be some comparisons to real life, especially the fact that the people who made this movie and are releasing this movie know very well that this is going to be released during a election year.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I feel like this is going to be very controversial once they release it. Yeah, this movie might cause a civil war on Twitter for the most part.
Listen.
And there is a Twitter for it. Okay.
There's a trailer for it, yeah. Have you not seen the trailer yet?
I don't think I've seen it, yeah.
I rewatched the trailer before putting my list together where I want to put it. I have not seen any of Alex Garland's work yet. Obviously, I'm probably not going to watch Men because it's a little too weird for my taste. But Ex Machina is one that I do want to check out still. So many people have said Ex Machina is really good, so I do want to see that. I haven't seen Annihilation. That one's also kind of on the weirder end.
I've seen Annihilation, and it gets a little rough in places.
So Alex Garland's kind of all over the place with what he's done. So his name doesn't necessarily mean that I'm automatically wanting to see this. The trailer does look very interesting. It looks very intriguing. It's very much like a political thriller. There's nothing. It doesn't give me the air of anything weird or strange. It gives me the air of too real and very suspenseful, and that kind of sells me on this a little bit more. And it's the reason why it's hitting at least the C tier for me, because it does look intriguing. I'm just very curious as when does this come out? In April?
Yeah.
I'm just very curious. By the time it comes out, are we actually going to be in a real civil war by then?
Yeah. I'll agree. C tier sounds good for it. Yeah, that movie's gonna cause problems, yo.
Based on some of the things are going here in our own state right now. Who knows?
So, anyways, moving on. Next one is coming out May 10th. We've got Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And now we're already into the area where I know the graphics are going to start causing problems with this.
Yeah. That's why our list is only kept to like 39 and not adding like too many more movies.
Yeah. I've only seen... so, first of all, I'm not interested really in the older Planet of the Apes movies. I've never been like a big monkey movie fan, so
Same.
Apes, monkeys, I'm not really that interested. So the original ones for me, I wasn't ever interested in. I've never seen the Tim Burton one. The newer ones, I have seen the first one, and it was really good. I've seen the second one, and I remember it being pretty decent as well. I haven't seen any of the other ones since, so I need to rewatch those.
You just haven't seen the third one.
Yeah, their naming is like really like Rise and Dawn, and
which one comes before which? I don't know. Midnight of the Planet of the Apes. Yeah. Count yourself blessed that you haven't seen the Tim Burton one. That one was straight trash.
Yep.
For this franchise, I'm almost in the same boat. I've only seen the first one of this specific Planet of the Apes franchise. I do intend on watching all of them, including rewatching the first one before going and seeing this one. Because of that, I did watch the first one. I did like the first one. I thought it was really good, and I'm excited to actually visit the entire franchise now. Not the entire franchise, but this specific section of the franchise.
The Kelvin universe of the Planet of the Apes movies.
Exactly, the Kelvin timeline for the Planet of the Apes movies. I'm excited to actually watch them and watch 2 and 3 for the first time too. So that, especially because they have a lot of hype around them, and a lot of people seem to like them. I'm excited for that, and then I'm excited to be excited for this movie. So for that reason, my anticipation for this is a little bit higher, because I'm also anticipating watching the other movies in this franchise too, and that puts it at an A tier for me.
Are you gonna go A?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was gonna say probably B, but
my logic makes sense.
Next one coming out May 17th is If.
If.
Was
this John Krasinski directing this?
Yes. With Ryan Reynolds. This looks like it's going to be fantastic. This looks like it's going to be a really good, cute family movie.
Mm-hmm.
This is the second movie based off of like the idea of imaginary friends that's not a horror movie. I don't know. I'm almost tempted to say like I'm S with it, but it's not like a right out the gate, yes, S, like at least one other movie I'm aware of on this list that 100% will be S.
This is one of those situations, where we've already gotten a trailer for this. I would say the more trailers we get that kind of show off more of the humor of the movie, I think the higher this will end up getting. For me, it's an A right now, just because the premise, the cast, everything, everybody involved in the project, it just sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds like it's going to be just a lot of fun, a real nice, enjoyable time. I'm pretty excited for it. I'm excited to sit down and check it out, plant my butt firmly in a theater seat and enjoy it. So A tier for me.
I'm going to see if I can. It's not going to do that. I don't know why, but whatever. Okay. Well, we're just going to have weird looking graphics.
It's invisible. It's the Invisible Man.
Okay. Next one, moving on. This is going to be probably a big one for a lot of people. May 24th. One of 2 movies coming out May 24th. And that is going to be Furiosa, Mad Max Saga. I think the Mad Max movies, like the last one, Fury Road, I thought was okay. Like I've really had a hard time getting into Mad Max movies, especially the older ones. And Fury Road was interesting to look at least. It had like gorgeous cinematography and costumes and everything like that, but I don't know. I would say I'm probably nowhere near as hyped for this movie as probably a lot of other people are.
I did enjoy Fury Road. There's only like, it's not a movie that I necessarily say that I also was like heavily invested in the story of what was going on, as much as I was heavily invested in just the filmmaking that was happening. Mm-hmm. And I think, again, you're going to find that's probably a lot of people's stance on Fury Road. The story was good, but just the absolute powerhouse filmmaking that was being done for that movie is great. And it's honestly kind of, aside from the fact that this is Anya Taylor-Joy in this role, and she's fantastic. And then we've got Chris Hemsworth doing something fantastic in this movie as well. Between the two of them, I'm super sold. But also, again, I'm super sold on just the nature of the filmmaking. And I actually am looking forward to, since we didn't see Fury Road in the theater, I'm actually looking forward to kind of sitting down and checking this out on a big screen and watching the beauty and the cinematography of this on the big screen. That alone has me pretty hyped for this. And that's why it's going in the S tier for me.
You're going to put this S?
Mm-hmm.
Oof. I will concede to that because, like, I wasn't really hyped, and then you just painted the picture of sitting in the theater and seeing that. Like, George Miller makes good-looking movies.
I bring logic to the party.
Regardless of how hard it might be to get into some of those movies, especially the older Mel Gibson Mad Max movies, it is going to look gorgeous, and it's going to be.
It's gonna be a pretty solid looking film on the big screen. I'm pretty excited about that. But again, specifically and especially because we missed Fury Road in the theater.
Yeah,
and I think this is going to kind of make up for that in my mind for me.
I'm going to put a couple of spots down because I do know, again, there's one that's definitely going to be the top of top, and I think there might be one other that I would say would beat out Furiosa as well.
I've got a pretty solid looking S tier list on this one, all things considered.
Yeah. Next one, also coming out the same day as Furiosa. This one's going to be for the kids, and that is the Garfield movie.
We call this counter programming, everybody.
Yeah. Both movies, it's going to be an orange weekend, so show up in your orangey best because there's a lot of orange going around.
Orange double feature, anybody?
I mean, I said it in the trailer reaction. I'm not a huge fan of them using someone else to do the voice of Garfield that is not at least trying to sound like the Lorenzo Music original. That's my biggest gripe. My one thing I do like about this movie is at least they did a great job of making Garfield look like Garfield. Besides that Bill Murray crap that doesn't even look like Garfield, they didn't even bother trying. This one, at least they tried, and it looks good.
Hold on. I'm trying to say something.
It's that cat hair, huh?
And then, of course, I'm on camera, so if I have to sneeze, it's not going to happen. So, yeah, the Bill Murray movies, the biggest downfall for those is at least they tried to animate Garfield in that movie, whereas all the other animals, including Odie, were just regular live-action animals. And that brought that movie down for me. As far as this movie goes, Garfield is animated, and doing an animated Garfield movie, it's gonna be decent. You know, I think Chris Pratt will be fine. Chris Pratt is your go-to. I need someone who can just perform or give us a solid, really basic performance for this role. The trailer we've got looks cute. It looks cute. I'm not super hyped for it. I love Garfield, but I'm not super hyped for the movie. I don't know if we are actually going to pull off a double feature, or if we're even going to check out the Garfield movie in the theater specifically that weekend. So I'm saying C. I'm saying C tier. If we don't see it in the theater, I will be hyped to watch it immediately when it hits like streaming.
I think it's also going to be one as we get closer to it, we start hearing like word of mouth on it.
That too.
Granted, I would like to eventually get to the point where we're one of the people feeding that word of mouth, but
yeah, I mean, if we happen across like a screening of this beforehand, I'm not going to say no to it.
I believe this is potentially, unless the story is really good, I feel like it's probably one of those movies that's going to come out and we're going to forget that there was an animated Garfield movie that came out at some point in our lives.
Yeah.
So the theater that we typically go to probably will.
That might actually put me in the seat for it. Having a special lasagna meal for Garfield and watching that might put me in the seat for that movie.
That might put me to sleep in that seat for that movie.
No, it's an animated movie. It's only going to be like an hour and a half.
Still.
That'll be fun.
You know me, I can fall asleep in those seats pretty easily.
It's true. Wake up.
So next one, now we are fully into the summer movie swing. So the next one we got here is June 7th, and that is another essentially girl in a tutu, ballerina. This I don't think this is actually an official image. This is just like probably the best looking image I could find about this. This is a John Wick spinoff. We saw this character, I believe, in John Wick 3.
Parabolum.
Yeah.
The only John Wick movie with a subtitle.
Yes. So we saw this character briefly in John Wick 3. This character is being played by Ana de Armas in this movie. She was not played by Ana de Armas in John Wick 3. But yeah, it's a spin-off of John Wick because, you know, that series made money. Yes, she wasn't in John Wick 3. That series is making money, and those of y'all who have seen John Wick 4 know that that series probably isn't going to venture too much further down the John Wick path. It's time to spin it off and focus on someone else now. So, I like the John Wick series. The idea of a spinoff, there's a part of me that just feels like this is a money grab and may not be taken completely serious. The only thing that really has me holding out for this is the Ana de Armas of it.
Yeah.
I just want to see her as like a badass.
So one of the big top selling reasons for this is that her character in the, I want to say it was the latest Bond movie.
Yeah, it was basically that.
She was fantastic as in that role and in that movie, and was in that movie for like a scene and a half. And we were like, we needed more of her role. Yeah, she was in No Time to Die. We needed more of her role from that movie. And this feels like roughly our answer to that. For me, I think this is going to be I mean, just honestly, based on that reason, I want to see more of Ana de Armas kind of playing off of the role she did in No Time to Die, but we're going to get it in the John Wick universe instead. And this feels like, you know, we're kind of also playing off of some of the same ideas that we got maybe from Black Widow a little bit, you know, kind of the Red Room type situation for Black Widow.
Yeah.
Ana de Armas, really, I feel like she is actually a really great actress, and some of her project choices as of late have not done her justice for what her talent and capabilities are. Ghosted and whatever the heck that Marilyn Monroe, Blonde. Yeah. Honestly, I'm right there with Furious on this one.
So if I could add one more hiccup in this, it's being directed by Lynn Wiseman, who directed like 2 of the Underworld movies, including the original Underworld, and also directed Live Free or Die Hard and the Total Recall remake. So he's done movies that I don't think most of those movies have been like really looked on as just complete utter gutter trash, but they're, I would say, top of the meh pile.
He's done movies that show that he's a capable director. Maybe he hasn't done a movie yet that has broken him out, so to speak, but he's done movies that have shown him as a capable director. This might be his movie to break out, and I think that's kind of what he's looking for. And doing a spinoff from the John Wick universe, I think, is going to be a good one to try to head in that direction for.
So you're saying S tier?
I'm saying S tier. I'm excited for Ana de Armas just playing into a role that I think she's going to absolutely kill. Pun slightly intended.
Nice. Next one coming out June 14th. This is one of 2 coming out June 14th. Let's move it over here.
Once again, counter programmings.
Yeah, literally. Inside Out 2.
Absolutely.
This looks cute. The first Inside Out movie was cute, and like, I haven't watched it. I don't think I've seen it since the theater, so I definitely need to watch it again because I remember it being fun. I'm just not looking forward to any of the Bing Bong part again. If we could fast forward, like, that's one of those parts in a movie that after you've seen the movie, you're like, I kind of want to fast forward that, much like the wedding dress try-on scene in Bridesmaids. Like, the rest of the movie is great, but can I just fast forward this one little bit? I don't want to see that again.
Two very different reasons, too. Good Lord.
Two very extreme different reasons.
Also, Bing Bong.
Yeah.
Had to do that.
Yeah, Bing Bong, like, in all honesty, Bing Bong was great. I love that character. I'm eager to see what like the other emotions that get added into this. I don't know if we've gotten like a full like list. Have we gotten a list of exactly what the other emotions are?
We have. I can't rattle them off the top of my head right now, but we do know what the other emotions are.
It's like, if I'm not wrong, it sounds like these are other emotions that are being added to her brain because she's now going into being a teenager. So she's got teenage emotions that are coming in on this. And I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to do with that, because this still has to stay a kid's movie. So I don't know how much they're going to push the envelope in that. Of course, Pixar is also really good at putting like little like nods, not like blatant innuendo, but like little nods for the adults to pick up on, going, that's funny. Yeah. So I expect to see probably something similar in this, as we're talking about more adult themes. Again, we're talking about a teenage girl though, so I don't know how much they're going to actually push towards that boundary, because that could get weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm eager to see this. I'm kind of sad that we don't have a lot of the returning cast though.
No, two of them are gone. Mindy Kaling and Bill Hader have been replaced for this movie, but I don't know who. I can't remember where I saw who was replacing them, but at least their characters are kind of still there.
Are we? Oh yeah, we're still getting Lewis Black for Anger. So Tony Hale is doing Fear, which
that makes sense.
That's fine.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Phyllis Smith is doing Sadness.
Sad. Yeah.
Which, I mean, okay, no, I was like, we're replacing one office worker for another, but Mindy Kaling was Parks and Rec.
No, wow, you just said a whole bunch of things that were completely incorrect. Mindy Kaling was also The Office, and Phyllis Smith Sadness. She was Sadness in the first movie too. It was just Mindy Kaling played Disgust.
Disgust. That's right. Okay, so Disgust is being played by Liza Lapria. She was in Crazy Stupid Love. She was the friend of Emma Stone. She was also in movie 21.
Okay. Yep.
And Don't Trust the Bee.
Yep, and that makes sense also.
Yeah.
Both those casting replacements make plenty of sense. Voice wise, character wise, yeah, that works.
Apparently, one of the new emotions is anxiety, voiced by Maya Hawke. So
I love that. Okay, yeah, I'm sold on this movie. For me, I put it at the top of A tier. I could easily see it going into S tier too. It's Pixar again, and Inside Out 1 was really good. So I'm fairly hyped for this one.
You want to put end of S?
I could, yeah. I could be persuaded to put it in S.
Hey, Chris, you want to put it in S?
Yeah, might also help us with our spacing in the A tier.
Yes, please. Also, coming out the same day, the counter programming. I don't think this is still the full title for it. I think there's still a title change to come. And probably a lot more. We should be getting like at least a trailer pretty soon, if not during the Super Bowl, maybe.
I would expect during the Super Bowl.
That would be Bad Boys 4.
Life.
No, that was the last one. They blew it on that without thinking ahead.
Made a mistake on that one. That's like one of the biggest foibles I've ever seen for a major franchise.
I love the original Bad Boys, and Bad Boys 2 I feel like Bad Boys 2 is just as classic. There's a lot of great stuff about Bad Boys 2. My favorite, of course, is going to be was it Reggie, the kid who's coming to date Martin Lawrence's daughter? Yeah. That whole bit was hysterical, and I still cry laughing whenever I watch the movie and I see that scene again. How old are you? You look 30. Yeah, that's great. Bad Boys 3. Honestly, I don't remember like anything from it except the fact that they brought in like the younger group of detectives, and one of whom was what's her face?
Yep,
from High School Musical and Tick Tick Boom, and
Vanessa
Hudgens.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't remember anything from Bad Boys for Life. So probably need to rewatch it, but I just remember that movie just didn't stick with me as much as the first two did.
Yeah. Bad Boys has never been like a big franchise for me. You know, I think I've watched 1 and 2 just to catch up to watch the third one. So, you know. Yeah, Bad Boys for Life fumbles a slap in the face. It really is.
That's also another thing too is has there been any other like Will Smith movies that have come out since The Slap? There was one.
There was one. It kind of flew under the radar for probably good reason. And I think it was like a straight to streaming type joint. So
yeah, and I don't remember hearing anything about it, but we'll see how that affects this. I doubt it's really going to have too much of an effect.
Nah, I don't think it will get affected by that much.
You'll get people on Twitter like, how are you going to like hype up and advertise a movie of someone who abuses other people? You'll get something like that. We're like, it was a slap. Calm down.
Everybody else will be like, shut up.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
I decided I wanted to go ahead and throw it in B tier. I'm like, again, B for Bad Boys. I'm not that hyped on the Bad Boys franchise as a whole. It's not my favorite thing. It's fine. It's fun. It's a good time. It's a generally good time. So, you know, I'm at the B. I'm not super hyped for it. And also, like, again, you know, some of these movies we have to plan out our hypedness for them without seeing a trailer. Some movies, it's okay. We're hyped for it just based on what the movie is. And some movies we are not hyped for it until we see a trailer for it. So Bad Boys is kind of one of those for me. I might generate some hype for it once I get trailers and see more from it. And if they make like a meta joke about how the fourth one can't be called For Life because they already wasted that on the third one.
Yeah.
Bad Boys For Life 2. 4.
So next one, this is going to be another spin-off movie. This is going to be A Quiet Place, Day 1. Directed by Michael Sarnowski, who also directed Pig, that
interesting
movie that stars what's-his-face here? Nicolas Cage. Which Pig was very well liked. Yeah. Very, very well liked. So kind of curious to see how this one's going to go. Of course, we're losing the John Krasinski.
He's a producer, I think, at least.
And is he...
He definitely has a hand in this in some way.
So this is supposed to go back to like the first day, which we already saw clips of like that first day at the beginning of Quiet Place 2.
Yeah.
So I guess we're going to be focusing on another group. Djimon Hounsou is in this, so my guess would be this is probably going to be focusing a lot on the group that was on that island that was broadcasting the radio signal that they were following in Quiet Place 2.
Yeah.
So that will be interesting to see that. Wouldn't be surprised if there is actually like a John Krasinski and Emily Blunt cameo in this. And of course, like their kids.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we get a cameo from them at some point in it as well. Maybe like quick passing by in the city at the beginning before all hell breaks loose. Otherwise, it's got a good cast. Lupita Nyong'o, Joseph Quinn from Stranger Things, and Alex Wolff, Dennis O'Hare. So, I mean, decent cast there.
Yeah.
I would say, for me, probably B. I think B would be pretty good. Like, we're
interesting.
We're going away from what we already know and doing an offshoot, and I'm kind of leery whenever movies do that. Almost like what I was thinking with Ballerina, but I think there's a lot more supporting like the idea of Ballerina just because of the people who are still involved in this. And while this one seems to be taking the story for a completely different group, and I don't know how well that's going to play out, even though the first two Quiet Place movies have been bangers in my opinion.
I mean, it's interesting because the second one had Djimon Hounsou and Cillian Murphy in it.
Mm-hmm.
And most people would think, okay, Chris, it's a horror movie. You're going to put it in the F tier, right? No, I actually saw the first two, and I love the first two. I think the first two are actually really, really good movies. And because of that, even if this is technically like a prequel / spinoff, I'm still pretty hyped for it. I believe John Krasinski's name is still attached to this, so that gives me hope that it's going to be really good. It is one of the other few ones that I have in my S tier right now.
It is produced by John Krasinski, but it's also produced by Michael Bay.
Did Michael Bay produce the other two?
I don't think so.
Michael Bay's production company produces a lot of movies.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean Michael Bay has any say whatsoever on those movies.
Oh, no, he did. He did produce the other ones.
Well, there you go. Put it in S tier.
Okay.
The Michael Bay of it all doesn't matter to me then. Oh, I know what you're saving the other spot for. Whatever. Yeah, Quiet Place day one. I'm pretty excited for it.
Actually, no, there's a third spot I should have been saving also. I completely forgot that I was already talking about one particular horror movie that I'm going to put S tier.
Yeah.
There's technically another horror movie-ish that I would stick up there. But July 3rd, that is our next one. This one is going to be Despicable Me 4. I mean, the Despicable Me movies have been cute, but like the more and more they go on, the less and less I've been entertained by them. This might be a thing that like I am just completely outside of the demographic for this movie.
Banana.
Yeah, the Minions movie was driving me bananas.
Okay.
And like I remember very little about Despicable Me 3. So
I think I've only seen the first one.
Yeah, I'm so tired of the Minions and stuff. I mean, it's great for kids. If this was a couple of kids hosting this would be like probably top of S tier, but I really don't care. This is probably a movie that I will probably not watch this or review it. I don't think.
So in my mind, it doesn't go in the F tier because the F tier holds movies that I just absolutely despise the idea that I have to go see them, basically. Or in Rebel Moon Part 2's case, care absolutely zero about. Whereas Kung Fu Panda 4 is in the D tier. I put Despicable Me 4 also in the D tier. I actually put it under Kung Fu Panda 4, which is interesting because at least I have interest in going back and watching the Kung Fu Panda movies. I've seen the first Despicable Me, and I don't have a whole lot of interest for the rest of them. But I would still rather sit down and watch Despicable Me 4 over, like, Madam Web, so to speak, even though it's very likely that we're going to go see Madam Web and probably not Despicable Me 4. I don't know if any of my logic makes sense here, but I just have it in D tier for, if I catch it, I'll catch it. If I don't, I don't.
There's also a part of it is talking about movies on YouTube. There's definitely the YouTube of it. We need to go see Madam Web because it's a superhero movie. Internet's going to talk about it. That's very much in our alley anyways. That
it's
is
a make or break moment for Sony.
While Despicable Me 4, again, we're not the demographic for it. I mean, no one's going to watch our video wanting to know if they can take their kids to go see Despicable Me 4. You're going to do it anyways because your kids probably won't shut up about going to see the new Minions movie.
Also, you need to take your kids to the theater, and that's going to be a movie during the summer that you can take them to.
Yeah. Next one, I'm going to do July 19th. So, I mean, we're past halfway through the list easily.
Yep.
Next one is going to be Twisters.
I can't remember if I've seen Twister or not. I'm thinking back, and I don't remember if I've ever actually watched it.
I want to say you must have.
I feel like I must have. I don't think I have it logged on Letterboxd, so if I don't have it logged on Letterboxd, there's a good chance I haven't seen it, and I can't really remember if I've seen it or not. Which doesn't necessarily bode well for my excitement for this one, if I can't remember if I've seen the first one, but I know that there's been a lot of talk around this one. It's not a sequel. It's not a reboot. It's not this, that, and the other. I'm like, well, then what is it? If it's not any of the things, then what is it? You know?
I'm willing to bet there's at least going to be some. I don't know if they've actually confirmed this, but I'm willing to bet there's at least one or two characters that's probably related to like Bill Paxton or Helen Hunt's characters from the first one.
Surely there's a connection.
Yeah, there has to be.
There's a tornado in this one, and there was a tornado in the other one.
Oh, there you go. There's your connection right there. Oh,
the tornado in this one is the grandson of the tornado in the first one. I don't know what a tornado's lifespan is. Could be like great-great-grandson. We're
going to have the relation to the cow or the other cow.
It's the same cow.
Or I think it's the same cow.
It's the same cow.
Yeah, okay. I know. I'm just hoping to see the flying tire that we got in the trailer for the original movie that we never actually saw in the movie. And that was the first time I realized that trailers are cut differently from the movies, because I was like, where was that in the movie?
I also heard that Ana de Armas wasn't in it, so we need to sue for that. Yeah. No, this one's... I could be excited for this one, given certain things. Like, I probably need to... I guess it sounds like I need to at least rewatch the first one if I haven't seen it. Trailer for this... I don't think that exists yet.
Nope.
So that could generate some hype. It could actually be a situation where this movie ends up being like this year's Top Gun Maverick.
Here's the other thing too. The
Glenn Powell connection aside.
The cast for this though, you got Daisy Edgar Jones, Glenn Powell, Anthony Ramos, Brandon Perea, Mara Tierney, Kiernan Shipka, David Cornsweet.
It's not a bad cast.
Katie O'Brien.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid cast.
Yeah.
I mean, this very well could be the surprise hit of this year. So right now I have it in the C tier. Again, this is going to be one of those situations where I look back and be like, oh yeah, that one, after having seen it, rated much higher. But my hype level is pretty basic at the C level right now, I think.
Yeah, Chris is basic, so.
In a lot of things sometimes. I like my Fufu coffee from Starbucks.
All right. Well, we've reached that point, y'all.
Yes, and he was told by Kevin Costner to not come any further.
That's great.
That's Henry Cavill. Never mind.
We've reached that point in this show.
S.
Like, do I even have to reveal it? I mean,
S tier.
I don't think there's a single person that's openly saying that they're not extremely hyped for Deadpool 3.
S tier.
This is the highest of S tiers. You've got Wolverine in the yellow costume. You brought Hugh Jackman back. If all the things that we're seeing in those leaked photos, if you care to look at the leaked photos, if all of those are pointing in the direction that this movie is going, it's going to be amazing.
It's and I cannot
wait to see Ryan Reynolds just all over everything, because it's going to be so funny.
It's going to be a good time.
Yeah. This is the highest of S's.
Yeah, that's the top of S tier over here. Especially in a literally in a year where the only Marvel movies that are coming out is Deadpool 3 for the MCU, sort of, kind of. Yeah. And then the other Sony Spider-Man related movies, which so this is basically like the MCU is taking a year off, more or less. They're kind of putting out Deadpool 3, which is it's part of the MCU ish.
Yeah. Here's the other thing. Keep in mind, this entire franchise was started because someone leaked that trailer.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for whoever leaked that trailer, we don't know.
Ryan Reynolds.
But whoever leaked that trailer, if they hadn't done that,
Ryan Reynolds
had 20th Century Fox at the time had known that we would have been talking about Deadpool 3, going off the expectation that they were still also their own company and they weren't bought by Disney. But had they known that we would be so hyped for Deadpool 3 years later, they wouldn't have questioned that trailer. Like, the second that they saw that trailer, they would have immediately greenlit it instead of waiting for it to get leaked onto the internet. So
the Deadpool series, because of that, is just it's a great, like, kind of an underdog type situation where the movie was not going to get made, and then Ryan Reynolds, someone put out the trailer online and said, "Hey, you need to make this. And they were like, all right, I guess we need to make this. Like, it's such an underdog story to now being where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. S tier. Easy S tier. Easiest S tier on the list.
Yeah. Next one. This looks like is going to be August. Is it August 9th? So we're on our first August. And that is going to be Borderlands. I don't know anything about this video game. The image looks cool. The image looks pretty.
I know very little about the video game. I've seen a character from it. Everybody has seen at least a character from it because they're the one that's on the cover art for the games.
So it's a science fiction action comedy. So I don't know if that's how the video game is played out as well. The thing that's interesting about this, and it's probably also going to keep Chris away from watching it, is it's being directed by Eli Roth.
Oh, well, I put that in D tier. It's automatically going to F tier then for me.
But I don't know if it's not being played as like a horror movie. So
yeah, but so the kind of game that I believe that it is going to be one that they're definitely going to play up some over the top violence that is just not my cup of tea. So I am very likely to not check this one out, that being the case. But if for some reason that is not it, I do currently have it sitting in the D tier for that hesitancy placement.
If you would like some more support in the positive side, it's being produced by Avi Arad.
Put in the F tier.
The cast on this, though, you got Kate Blanchett, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, Bobby Lee, Edgar Ramirez, Ariana Greenblatt, Florian Munteau. I don't know how you pronounce his name. Gina Gershon and Jamie Lee Curtis.
That's an interesting cast.
Especially for an Eli Roth, I don't think has ever had that big of a cast in any of his movies. The closest would have to be Inglourious Basterds, but he didn't direct that. But
I'll be surprised if this movie isn't R-rated.
Yeah.
In which case, I would be surprised if this is the kind of movie that I'll be interested in. If it turns out it is, I will happily go see it. But for me, this is probably, we're looking at right now D tier at best, F tier probably for me, generally speaking.
I'm going to say the only reason I say D is because I just don't know anything about the video game. Of course, I could easily read up on the video game, watch clips of people playing it, and probably get the gist and the idea and be like, oh, okay, that would make for a good movie. In which case, my opinion would probably change on that. But as of right now, not knowing anything except seeing a really pretty image of the logo or whatever, yeah, that's where it's going to have to go for now.
Again, it's going to be one of those where you get a trailer, you get some more information about what the movie's going to look like, then that hype could go up.
Here is one that again, this is probably just going to be me ranking this one.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of hyped on this, even though I don't know jack about this. Alien Romulus. So this is a movie that's being a new alien movie that's being directed by Fede Alvarez. As far as I know, this doesn't have anything to do with what Ridley Scott was trying to do with Prometheus or Alien Covenant. This is a whole nother alien story. I don't know anything about it other than Fede Alvarez is directing it, and that has me pretty well hyped. I loved Fede Alvarez's Evil Dead in 2013. I thought it was absolutely perfect. Don't Breathe was okay as far as a movie that has build up that tension and suspense. Of course, there's one thing about Don't Breathe I'm not a huge fan of that we probably could have done without, but otherwise, yeah. And I don't know if has Fede Alvarez done anything else since then. The Girl in the Spider's Web.
Mm-hmm.
Which wasn't that another girl with the dragon? That was the girl with the dragon tattoo that did not actually. Oh, that was Claire Foy as Lisbeth. Yeah. He didn't direct Don't Breathe too. So, yeah, Alien Romulus. This could be interesting.
I've only seen the first and second Alien at this point, or Alien and Aliens, I should say. The Alien franchise just doesn't do it for me as a whole. So I don't have really an opinion one way or the other on this one.
So stars in it, like it stars Kaylee Spaney, who played Priscilla Presley in that Priscilla biopic from last year.
Mm-hmm.
Also stars Isabella Merced, who's going to be in Madam Web. She was Dora in the live-action Dora the Explorer movie.
Well, that's our claim to fame right now.
Yeah. And that's really about all I recognize as far as who's in this. So,
yeah,
which is good. I mean, for the most part, I think most of the Alien movies have always had like a cast of relative unknowns for the most part. So, but yeah.
Where are you putting it?
I'm going to put this in A. It's Aliens. I love Aliens.
It could be good.
And I like Fede Alvarez so far, so I have high hopes.
We'll see.
Movie that I don't have high hopes.
Oh God.
Coming out August 30th.
As a return from last year's anticipation list,
Kraven the Hunter.
And guess what? Over the course of a year where we haven't seen anything else about this since that time last year, except for I think we got the trailer since our anticipation list last year.
Yes.
That trailer did no service to this movie.
I almost kind of care about Madam Web a little bit more because at least Madam Web has an intriguing type of story about her. I don't care about a standalone Kraven movie. I can within a bubble, I could see the need for a Madam Web movie more than a Kraven movie. And to be clear, outside of that bubble, I don't see a need for either one of these movies.
Kraven is a character, though, whose story and everything can be wrapped up in a Spider-Man movie and done justice and done nicely within a Spider-Man movie. It doesn't need to be its own story. It doesn't need to be its own movie.
Yeah. So.
I have zero interest in any more of these Sony Spider-Man-less Spider-Man movies. I just don't care. I don't care.
Yeah. So, F tier. Oh, I'm sorry, Chris. I did that without asking you. Where would you want to put that?
Put it to the left of Rebel Moon. No, you're fine. It's fine.
Well, we are going to at least go see Kraven still. So
we'll see. I still haven't seen Morbius.
Yeah. Next one. So now we are into September. And 1st of September, we've got the return of everybody's favorite Ghost with the Most. It's showtime. Beetlejuice 2. Not an official image yet.
Gosh.
This is the other one that I was holding that spot in S tier for. Again, forgetting that there was another movie I had already planned to put in S tier also. So yeah, this is S tier. Like, we've been waiting for a Beetlejuice sequel for quite some time. Originally it was, I think, announced that it was going to be like Beetlejuice Goes to Hawaii or something like it. Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian, and that never actually happened. So I'm eager for this when it comes out, or at least when we get the trailer, because I know it's Michael Keaton. We got Tim Burton back. It has Jenna Ortega as the daughter of Winona Ryder's character. So I love the idea of what this is setting up so far. S tier for me. You're muted. Are you muted?
Yes, I was. Sorry.
There we go.
I was typing in the private chat and I didn't want the sound of my keyboard to pop up on the microphone. So, anyway, Beetlejuice 2 is B tier for me. B for Beetlejuice. It is. The first one is entertaining. It's fun. It's a fine time. So for me, I'm not like super over the top Beetlejuice fan. I can take or leave the franchise. So for there being a second one, again, like you said, this is Michael Keaton returning to the role, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, there's your reason to go see the second one right there. Michael Keaton is just a legend in and of his own right. So him returning to a role that he did a fantastic job at in the first one, it would be worth seeing.
And I don't think I put it on this list.
Le gasp.
Okay, so it's not on this list because I guess I wasn't thinking about it when they officially announced it. End of September, before we get into October, it does look like the end of September is when the next Saw movie is going to come out, Saw 11. If they do anything quite like what they did with Saw X, I'm game for it. S tier for anticipation on Saw 11. But if they mess that up, even in the slightest, that movie's going to plummet real quick. So I'm hyped because of where I'm at coming off of Saw X. So the next one that I do actually have on here is October 4th, and that is Joker Folie à Deux. It looks like it could be very interesting. I love the idea of it potentially being a musical with Lady Gaga as Harley. I think that fits very well in this world of Joker being Joaquin Phoenix. I'm just hoping it starts. I want to see it push more towards like the Joker that we know from like the comics. Yeah. That was one of the things I didn't like about the original Joker is the face makeup needed to be more like the Joker from the comics and not just random clown makeup. So I wish they would have kept that. They would have kept that in a little bit more, but.
Yeah, it's an interesting take on the Joker. The first one was, I mean, I thought it was a fine movie. You know, it's not one that like again I'm gonna rush back to time and time again. For me, it's a super depressing movie, and you know I only have so much mental energy for those kinds of stories. Like only a little bit. It's not to say that they're bad. It's just how much room do you gonna give to something that brings you down a little bit, kind of a thing. Second one. Moderately hyped for it. I love the Lady Gaga casting. I think the Lady Gaga cast as Harley Quinn is an inspired casting choice. And the fact that it's going to be kind of like chaos in this movie where we're going to have musical numbers for some reason pop up. Probably we're expecting this is going to be within their minds, probably within the minds of Joker and Harley, or we'll see. Again, trailer is going to do a whole lot of help here. For right now, it's in the B tier for me. I think it could be really good. I think it could be kind of bad. It could really go either way in this case.
Yeah, I agree. I think the music is going to be kind of like what you said in their head. I feel like it's going to play out if y'all are familiar with Scrubs, that one episode that was a musical because there was a person that's how they heard. They got injured and they heard everyone singing. I think it's going to play out something similar to that. I'll agree with B. It's really like... I know the storyline of the first movie was very like dark and kind of depressing. And so it really is the musical aspect and Lady Gaga of it that is going to sell it for me.
Yeah.
So. Okay. So next one.
Looks like we have a 3-movie block here that actually I have no opinion on. So if y'all will excuse me for just a moment, take it away.
Yeah. So, of course, that means that we're getting to the end of October, which is horror season, one of my favorite seasons. First one right off the bat we got on this is October 18th. We've got Smile 2. The first Smile was actually pretty surprising. Thought it was pretty good. Decent amounts of scares. My only really big complaint is a lot of like some of the jump scares that are in this movie. As effective as they were kind of ruined by the trailer. And there's one in particular that I wish they did not show in the trailer. Because when it came to watching in the movie, you already know it's coming. You're like, oh, all right, we're just seeing this on the big screen again. So otherwise, the premise, the idea, I can understand story-wise the idea that this curse is continuing. And I think that's very interesting. It kind of also leads me to the idea that there should have been a sequel, and I believe we've actually been told now that there's going to be a sequel to It Follows. I feel like it's kind of like the same kind of an idea of this curse that just follows you around. So, like, I know there is a sequel to It Follows coming out. Same with Smile 2. They're both kind of in the same vein, and I like that. So I'm eager to see what they do with this. I know, what was it, Smile 2, I believe is supposed to star... what's her name from Aladdin? Naomi Scott. So Naomi Scott is supposed to be in the lead role with Smile too. So that should be good. Should be pretty interesting. I am going to be a little bit reserved on it. The first movie I thought was like kind of like a drop in the bucket as far as like good horror movies. And there might be a part of it that Smile came out in one of the greatest years of horror movies recently of 2022. So I'm going to be a little bit reserved that I don't know if this is going to achieve that same kind of level of hype, but I am eager to see it, but I'm going to put it in B. Right next to Joker. That's kind of ironic. Joker needs more smiling. Next one, which is, this is the one horror movie. This is going to be my top horror movie of the year. You'll probably see me talk about it on Twitter and whatnot. And here it goes. Terrifier 3.
Woo! Oh.
Chris is just so eager for this movie. Yeah. I love the Terrifier series. I think they've done a really good job with it, especially with the practical effects. Damien Leone is a huge fan of practical effects, and it shows his love for the art, not just the clown, but the art of making a horror movie as graphic as it is. It comes through, and there's a lot of love in these movies, which is a weird thing to say about these movies. But I love the first one. The second one was so much better. I loved what they did with that second one. And I'm really eager to see how much of the story. There's a lot of loose ends with the story of what's going on in here. Who is Art? We still don't know who Art is. Who is Sienna? What is her connection to Art? What happened with Sienna's dad? I want to know these answers, and I'm hoping we get at least some strong hints in the third one, because there's already talk about them doing a fourth one. If they start continuing the same momentum that they have with these, this could be easily one of the huge horror franchises where every movie is just a complete banger, almost up there with, like, say, Scream, Child's Play. Right off the top of my head, those are like two like big, highly successful franchises ever. So yeah, I'm eager for Terrifier 3. This is my most anticipated horror movie of next year, and this is going in S right there next to Deadpool.
That poster is awful.
Oh, I cannot wait for that.
In my non-Terrifier liking opinion.
Next one. So I don't know if I would necessarily say that this is going to be flat out horror. I don't even really have any information about it. So
we just know it's coming out. We don't really have a whole lot of details on this one.
Yeah, so this is going to be Wolfman or The Wolfman. It looks like it's just going to go by Wolfman. This is being directed by Lee Whannell, who originally you know him from the Saw movies where he played Adam. He went off and he started directing movies himself. Upgrade, which is phenomenal. Absolutely love Upgrade. His take on The Invisible Man was also really good. And it seems like he's doing what Universal could not, and he's just taking it upon himself to flesh out the Universal monsters and make a Universal Monsters cinematic universe. He's just going to direct them all, which I'm here for. So I'm eager to see where this is going to go. Now, the only thing with this one is I believe, was it Sebastian Stan that was originally supposed to play the Wolfman in this?
I think I heard like Ryan Gosling was up for it at one point.
Or Ryan Gosling. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
And then Ryan Gosling, unfortunately, is not able to do it, so they replaced him with Christopher Abbott, who I don't know who Christopher Abbott is.
Got a great first name.
Oh, yeah, of course. And first initial of his last name, but...
Yeah, okay. I don't know. Yeah, we don't know anything about this. For right now, I have it in the F tier under the idea, specifically with the director, too, that it could be somewhere in the realm of a movie that I'm not interested in. So
Christopher Abbott's been in some well-known stuff. Martha Macy May Marlene, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, It Comes at Night, First Man, Vox Lux, Poor Things. He's going to be in Craven. So...
Yep. So
if this is anywhere near like what Lee Whannell's done already, it's going to be a good movie. So at that point, this is one I'm going to desperately want to see the trailer, and I will probably even be more excited based off of that trailer.
Mm-hmm.
As of right now, I'm going to put it in. I'll probably go ahead and put it in B, because I feel like I'm just about as excited for that as I am, like, at least Smile 2.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. We'll see once we get trailer and kind of get some idea around it, because I might even this might even be something that excites me if it fits within my realm of things I like.
Yeah. Next one, we've got our very last entry in the Sony Spider-Verse for the year, and that is Venom 3.
Woo!
We don't know anything about this. I think the only thing we've heard is like maybe like the symbiote god is supposed to be a part of this. I mean, I don't know exactly how we would top Carnage.
Yeah.
Even though, again, they didn't really do Carnage exactly like how they should have, but they still needed to keep it PG-13. So Carnage is a maniac who just throws people around instead of actually killing them. Whatever. I wouldn't say like I've been fully disappointed by the Venom movies. Out of the Sony Spider movies, Venom has been pretty decent. With the fact that they weren't having anything to do with Spider-Man. The fact that they made the movies not with Spider-Man and making Eddie Brock and Venom and the symbiote be their own standalone away from Spider-Man, I think they did a pretty decent job with that. I think it's acceptable, at least. There's other questionable things, like, of course, everyone always talks about the fight scene at the end of the first movie that's dark with giant CGI blobs that you can't tell who's who. And then, like, my issues with Carnage being taller than Venom, that was stupid. They need to make him small and skinnier. That's what made him more threatening, is the fact that he's not big and muscular.
Woody Harrelson's just a weird casting choice, I think, for Carnage too.
I think Woody Harrelson would have been a great Carnage had they done it like back in the 90s. Like, I'm thinking more of Woody Harrelson from Natural Born Killers would have made more logical sense, and not like decades later where we're trying. Obviously, we got Woody Harrelson because of Natural Born Killers, but it just doesn't fit that same mold anymore. So,
yeah. I got to be honest, I'm not really hyped for this. I will say that I'm definitely much more hyped for this than I am for Madam Web and Craven, because we've at least gotten 2 Venom movies beforehand. I know the character and I know the tone. And I know kind of the direction we're going in here. Venom 1 was fine to me. Venom 2, not good. That was not a good movie. I don't have a lot of high hopes for Venom 3. I just don't know what they could do. Obviously, again, we don't have a trailer. We do know this is going to be Tom Hardy calling it a day on the Venom character. This is going to be his last run as Venom, according to what he has said. So don't expect to see much more of this character after this movie. But I kind of like, again, with all the Sony Spider-Man movies, I don't care. It's in the D tier. It's at least in the D tier for me. It's higher than F. It's definitely one I'm would be looking forward to more than those other two. But I think as a whole, the Sony Spider-Verse movies are going to be very disappointing and will largely all flop this year. That's my prediction. In which case, maybe we see the full and complete rights to all Spider-Man properties revert back to Marvel by 2025.
That'd be nice.
That'd be nice.
Next one. So this is one that I know like a lot of people are going to rank high, and we're probably about to piss them off.
Maybe.
Gladiator 2.
Why does this movie exist?
Money? I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I really wasn't interested in the original Gladiator. I know that it's a movie that a lot of people really like, and I understand why people like it. It's just slow and kind of dull for me. Like, I really don't care about the conflict or anything. Like, I'll be honest, I have not seen the original Gladiator since it was in the theaters. So
yeah,
maybe I need to give it another rewatch. Maybe I will. I don't know. But I just remember like just being bored. So I have absolutely no hype for Gladiator 2.
Now, Me,
yes, Jeremy Miller. Good job. I was not entertained.
Me, on the other hand, so we got Gladiator 2, right? And so if I'm trying to figure out where to rank it, I'm thinking. No, I'm putting this in the D tier. Like, I also just moderately enjoyed the first Gladiator. I thought it was fine. I don't think it was anything that I got like super excited about. I've known people in my life personally who like nonstop watch Gladiator. I even had a roommate I shared a room with at one point, and he literally had Gladiator on like what feels like every week. So at some point every week, he was like, "I gotta watch Gladiator again," because it just hyped him up for some reason. And when I got around to finally watching it, I was like, "Oh, Russell Crowe did a good job. Okay, music's good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool." I'm not that hyped for Gladiator, and therefore I'm not that hyped for Gladiator 2. It's a D tier for me. Maybe more comes out about this movie that makes it look really cool, but for the most part, not for me.
All right. So next one. Speaking of good music, this one. So I am super eager for this, and I forgot this was actually on the list too. Maybe because this movie has been they've tried to make this movie for so long that this is one of those I'll believe it's coming out when I see it, even though we've gotten at least set photos so far. That is Wicked, and apparently it's going to be Wicked Part 1, which I absolutely hate. I hate the fact, because I know they're going to split it up after the first act, which is the climax of the. Okay, backtrack. If y'all aren't familiar, this is a storyline basically of how the Wicked Witch of the West came to be.
Couldn't tell based on the image.
Huh?
Couldn't tell based on the image.
Sure. It's a Broadway musical. It's a very loved Broadway, very popular Broadway musical. Why the hell did it take so long to finally get this movie to come out? I don't know. It's being directed by John M. Chu, who you may know has directed Crazy Rich Asians?
In the Heights.
In the Heights. So yeah, I mean, it's got someone who is good with like ensemble casts. In the Heights proves that he's good with a musical. So I trust that this movie is in good hands. Casting on this, you've got Cynthia Erivo is playing the Wicked Witch of the West, Elphaba. Solid. And then you've got Ariana Grande is playing Glinda the Good Witch. I'm trying to think of her other name.
Yeah.
Galinda. So yeah. I believe it's going to be interesting. I'm not thrilled the fact that they're splitting it into two movies, because the actual Broadway show, the big show-stopping number, the song that you probably know, the only song that most people probably know from this movie, if you're not familiar with it, is Defying Gravity. And that's where this movie, I'm willing to bet that's where this movie is going to end, is that big, she soars up into the air, flying on her broomstick for the first time, defying gravity, and credits. And you're like, no, now I need to watch the rest of it. So I hate the fact that it's being split up. I want to call this S tier just because I am a fan of the musical, but with it being split between two movies, it's kind of killing it a little bit for me.
I am landing on a B tier for this, just because I think the thing that's got me the most hyped is the John M. Chu of it all. Basically the In the Heights, his In the Heights. I loved In the Heights. I thought In the Heights was fantastic. I've watched it multiple times. Really enjoyed it. Crazy Rich Asians, also a really good movie. So he's got me like, his name alone has me kind of hyped on this. Obviously, it being a beloved Broadway show, there's a lot of hype around it for that reason. So I'm saying B tier for me. I don't obviously know the property that well, so therefore, outside of like, I know Wizard of Oz, but I don't know the property of Wicked that well, and so I could be potentially more hyped had I seen more from the show or anything. But for now, I'm saying solid B tier.
Let me also add one more thing to see if it possibly changes your mind. let's look at the cast list for this. Other than Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, you've got Jeff Goldblum as the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, that's nice.
Michelle Yeoh.
Of course. Staple.
Bowen Yang.
All right.
Keala Settle.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a good movie.
I haven't seen her since
Greatest Showman.
Greatest Showman. Yeah.
She had a bit, but very powerful role in that Rent Live that was on like ABC or whatever that unfortunately wasn't live due to a accident. But she did phenomenal in that too, especially seeing like the big solo part at the end of doing the Seasons of Love. So I'm all for Keala Settle coming back and doing anything. That woman's got a voice.
I do want to watch Greatest Showman again at some point soon. Still a B tier for me, but solid cast.
I'll go ahead and put it B tier. I just the splitting it between two movies just is what's really killing it for me.
Listen, it's twice as much Wicked to love. There you go. I've solved the problem for you. You get 2 movies for the price of 1. Well, actually, no, you get 2 movies for the price of 2, but that's not the point.
Yeah. Yeah, how do you watching 2 movies for the price of 1? We need to work on this because we're not getting press screenings yet. So
we'll see.
That would be a nice money saver for this year.
We'll see.
Next, we've got... On December 13th, we've got Lord of the Rings, and I need to click on it and move it over. Lord of the Rings, the war of, like, out of the words I can't pronounce, it's war. It's the one with 3 letters that I'm having a hard time with. Not
what is it good for?
Huh?
What is it good for?
Yeah, absolutely nothing. Good God, y'all.
Say it again, or try to.
So the War of the Rohirrim. And I believe this is an animated movie.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I've grown more and more appreciation for the OG original Lord of the Rings trilogy the more I've watched them. I'm at the point now where I actually do want to watch the extended editions because I don't think I have yet. And I want to see what all the magic that they hold. I did enjoy the Hobbit trilogy. I know a lot of people were kind of mixed to meh on the Hobbit trilogy. I enjoyed the Hobbit trilogy. I thought it was fun.
I still haven't seen them.
Yeah, it's worth at least watching once. That being said, I am not a Lord of the Rings head. I know you are also not a Lord of the Rings head. The both of us are not really into what we would classify as like medieval adjacent type fantasy. Where like you have knights or you have elves and trolls and all that kind of stuff. Like that's not really our bag. It's why we probably didn't appreciate Dungeons and Dragons as much.
And we haven't watched Game of Thrones.
Well, I haven't watched Game of Thrones, and why it took so long to really fully appreciate Lord of the Rings. Not that I ever thought that they were bad movies. I never thought that, but just they weren't movies that I was inherently interested to begin with. That being said, not really interested in this. I don't know what this story is. I don't know where it comes from, and a lot of people could be like, "Well, this is a terrible take. You need to read up on this." Sure, and I absolutely will before this movie comes out to see if I gain any interest for it. But as of right now, as it stands right now, knowing very little about this or what I know, it's at the top of my F tier. It could end up being something that rises out of that F tier later, unlike maybe some of these other movies. But I don't know what this is, and I don't have really any interest in it. And it looks like you're about the same.
Yeah. The only thing you said top of F. I am surprisingly still more interested in seeing Madam Web and Craven than I am this.
Well, I'm giving more hope that this actually is good, whereas the other movies I don't expect will be.
Yeah, I mean, I same with me. I've grown to have an appreciation for the Lord of the Rings movies. They're a lot more interesting every time I go back and watch them. I'm not really hesitant to watch them, but they're not movies I'm wanting to constantly put on. But I do enjoy them more as I watch them. That being said, I've probably seen all 3 Lord of the Rings movies. I could probably still count it on one hand. I'm probably somewhere between I'm probably at 4. I've seen all three of them probably about 4 times, and I haven't even bothered with the extended cuts because those movies are long enough as is. So I don't need 4-hour long movies.
Yeah. I know there are a lot of people out there that throw on Lord of the Rings. They love Lord of the Rings. They'll rewatch it. That's me with Star Wars. I'll throw on Star Wars. I'll rewatch Star Wars all the time. I love Star Wars. So Star Wars for me is, a lot of people have Lord of the Rings in that same vein for themselves.
Yep.
Absolute respect for the franchise. I don't know that I'm on board with this one, but I don't know anything about it. So we'll see.
So we got our last few here. December 13th, also same day as Lord of the Rings. I'm pretty sure that's going to change, especially because I don't even know if this movie's started filming yet. Ooh, but it's on the calendar, and we'll see. This will be the Gremlins 3 of this year.
Which is Gremlins 3 isn't even on this list.
No, it's not.
Oh, gosh.
They still haven't even filmed it. It was planned for it to supposedly come out at the end of 2023. It hasn't even started filming yet. I don't even know if they have a passable script. Of course, some of that obviously is going to be probably because of the strikes. So that pushed a lot of this stuff away. But this is going to be that Karate Kid movie that they announced like last month or so.
Isn't this supposed to also again feature Jackie Chan, or he was like a producer or something on it?
So yeah, it is going to have Jackie Chan in it, but I don't know if he's coming back and playing the same role that he played in the Jaden Smith Karate Kid movie as like a surrogate for Mr. Miyagi.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, that movie actually wasn't that bad. I think the Jaden Smith Karate Kid movie is not a bad movie at all. I would like to see maybe if they go back in, especially now that Pat Morita has passed away, if they go back and say that like maybe Jackie Chan is of some relation to Mr. Miyagi, I think that would be cool. We do also know that they're bringing back Daniel-san in this.
Which he's been a part of the Cobra Kai TV series.
And that's the other thing is like overall, like neither one of us are big Karate Kid fans either. We haven't watched Cobra Kai.
No.
I don't even know if I've seen Karate Kid Part 3. I know I have not seen the next Karate Kid with Hilary Swank.
Yeah, we need to go back and catch up on some Karate Kids again in order to get properly hyped for a new one. I know for a fact that I have seen the Jaden Smith one, which a lot of people, have in contention of it not really being karate in that movie. It was a good movie by itself, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have this one too high because I'm not like a big Karate Kid head. I think I put it like in C tier. Just generally the idea that there could be another one of these movies kind of is a hype thing by itself, but I also would need to go back and rewatch the old movies, and then probably I feel like I would need to maybe enjoy the Cobra Kai series too before seeing this. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah. I don't think that again, I think this movie is not coming out this year, so we'll see.
I noticed, I don't know if you spoke about this at any point because I saw someone mention this movie in the chat. I don't know if you spoke about it while I stepped away, but that Axel F movie it's supposed to come out this year, but doesn't have a date yet.
I thought it did have a date because they've already released the trailer.
They released the trailer, and everywhere I've seen so far, it just says 2024, but I don't see an actual date attached to it yet. Yeah,
I haven't talked about it. I mean, the Beverly Hills Cop series is okay. I've seen all 3 of them, and they were fine. The first one was good, but the other 2, I was kind of like, okay. I am excited the fact that they are bringing it back, and especially because of like the casting that they're bringing back with it as well. I think that's going to be good, but it's one of those like I just wasn't expecting it, and so therefore I'm like not super hyped for it because I'm not sitting here waking up every day going, man, I hope they release another Beverly Hills Cop movie.
I like the return. Hearing the music in the trailer was really good.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen the third one. I know I watched the first 2 because we did an Eddie Murphy Marquee before. I know I watched the first 2 around that time, I believe. So I don't know if I've seen the third one, but it looks fun. I would probably also put that somewhere in the like the C tier range, I think.
Yeah. So next one we've got coming out, looks like December 20th. One of two movies coming out December 20th. So they're really trying to nail that Christmas weekend there. We've got Mufasa, the Lion King. I don't know. I'm really hoping this is above anything else. I'm hoping they took what damn near every single person has said about the live action Lion King on the internet to heart. And we're going to find another way to make these animals, these realistic looking animals, convey emotion without like maybe they make them emote if they can figure out a way to make that look realistic. Because like the thing is, the animals in the original, in the live action one, they look good. It's just the lack of emoting. The Simba, oh no, my father's dead, and just blank face, like that was weird.
The art style was great. The effects and everything they used to film it was actually really good. But yeah, it was the same movie. It was the exact same movie as the 94 Lion King, except that there was no emotion to latch onto in it.
And there was a completely unnecessary Beyonce song where I didn't want to be on. I wanted the original song, that him running back to the Pride Lands. That score is amazing. I would have loved to have seen that in live action.
Yeah.
I didn't need a Beyonce song there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one, I'm hoping, as Jeremy Miller points out in the chat, Barry Jenkins directing this one does actually add a lot of weight to this. I'm hoping that Barry Jenkins directing actually brings some really cool stuff to this. It is a different story. It's a new story. Obviously, I believe it's supposed to be a prequel to the original Lion King story that we've gotten, because we're gonna investigate Mufasa when he was a younger lad.
What was that name?
Huh?
What was that name?
Mufasa?
Ooh, say it again.
Mufasa, Mufasa, Mufasa!
All right, that was weird.
So because it's a new story, it's not going to be the same exact movie as The Lion King was. I think that gives me some hope that there's going to be something more to latch onto on this one. And then on top of that, hopefully they do some actual emotion coming across these animals' faces, so that when somebody dies, I actually feel sad. They did that well in the first Lion King movie, not so well in the live action version. So because of that, because of the 20, I believe it was 2019, right? It was 2019, right? 2019.
Yeah.
Because of that version, and just being kind of a disappointment, I'm putting Mufasa in the D tier. I'm hoping that we get a trailer that shows something that really just kind of blows me away, and then that D tier shoots up, and this becomes one of my more anticipated movies of the year. I would love that for the legacy of the Lion King, but D tier for me right now.
That first trailer, they really need to come right out the gate. Like that first shot needs to be someone says something and we see another animal react to it and we see how they're doing that emotion. That needs to be the very first thing. Once they get that, you will have everyone on board. That's the only issue with that Lion King movie. That solves your problem.
That and it was 100% the same exact movie.
Yeah, but I mean that's the case with a lot of the Disney remakes that they've been doing lately.
Yes and no. I know you weren't a big fan of Aladdin, but I think they differentiated enough with Aladdin that made it a lot more interesting to me. Same with Jungle Book.
Yeah, Jungle Book I know was drastically changed. I know like Beauty and the Beast, they added this whole thing with like Belle's mother, which I guess was okay, but I mean, yeah. You said D?
I said D, yeah. It was the top of my D tier.
That sounds good. Now, again, once we see that trailer and if they correct that whole emoting thing, that's a movie I could see would jump up immediately. It
very easily could bump up to B or even A, I think. If it looks really good, it could bump up to S. Very possible, but
yeah. This one I feel like we've got a good amount of hype for.
This
Sonic 3.
Yeah, this is another one of those where I currently have it in the A tier for how hyped I am. I could easily be persuaded to put it in the S tier because the first two Sonic movies were actually really good. And I like the direction already of what we're seeing with Shadow.
That rumor.
Yeah, and then there's that rumor, I guess, of Hayden Christensen being casted as his voice, which is fantastic for me. So here's the proper framing for Sonic. So you growing up with Sonic was your Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Robotnik era.
Yep.
We've gotten that in the first two movies. We've gotten your Sonic through Sonic 3 in the first two movies, basically. This Sonic 3 movie right here is going to be my era of Sonic games growing up, which is the Sonic games that kind of came out for around the GameCube time, the Nintendo GameCube time, where you had the Sonic Adventure games, which introduced Shadow the Hedgehog around that time. And that Shadow the Hedgehog is a very interesting character that I'm actually very interested in seeing how they incorporate him. Because again, he's, I think, another one of those situations like Knuckles where you have a bad guy who's kind of more of like an anti-hero. He kind of goes back and forth. And so he could be bad for the whole movie or he could be good by the end of it. We'll see. I don't know if they really want to retread the stuff with Knuckles all over again, but yeah.
So where would you put it?
I'm generally hyped for this. I'm saying A tier. I could easily be persuaded to S tier. It also remains to be seen if they bring back Robotnik at all and if Jim Carrey truly is retired or not.
Yeah. I'm going to put it A. Just kind of like for the point you said, I'm not that familiar with Shadow, and there's a few things I didn't like about Sonic 2 that I feel like are pointing us in the direction that we're just going to get diminished
returns.
Yeah, diminished returns the more that they venture off into this. So we'll see.
I will say the best thing they did for the franchise was going back and fixing the way Sonic looks.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we're now sitting at Sonic 3. And there went... Oh, no, it's back. Okay. We're now sitting at Sonic 3, and every one of the characters they've introduced so far looks exactly like they should. They even went back and made Robotnik look more like he should.
Yeah. So, last movie on here. Well, okay, so there's another one that I didn't put on here that I do want to talk about briefly real quick, and that is Nosferatu. That is also supposed to come out, looks like December 25th right now, so coming out on Christmas, which nothing says Christmas like Nosferatu, but this is a movie that's being directed by Robert Eggers. If you're not familiar, Robert Eggers, known for The Vivitch, The Lighthouse. Both of those movies are fantastic.
Yeah,
which sense. Is weird because the Vivitch, doesn't look like a movie that I would be interested in. It's in very like hard, like Puritan dialect, and especially you got Ralph Ineson in that movie, who you're not going to understand what he's saying unless you turn on subtitles. Sorry. And then you've got what's her name? She was in Loki season 2. She was the woman general that was kind of evil. That they had to fight in that warehouse place or whatever.
Sure.
She's the mother. And of course, you got Anya Taylor-Joy in her acting debut. Lighthouse is a phenomenal movie with, was it Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe? You like me lobster, right? Please tell me you like me lobster. Like, great movie. Hark! So good. I have not seen, was it The Northman?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet, but I'm willing to bet I'm probably going to like it, but it looks like it's definitely, that is venturing more into that medieval fantasy, even though it's more of like Vikings.
Yeah.
That might be a movie that's going to be a little bit harder for me to get into, but we'll see. I'll watch it eventually. But yeah, coming back to a horror roots, we're doing Nosferatu, starring Bill Skarsgård as Count Orlok.
All of this makes sense.
Great casting.
There's nothing you're saying right now that does not make any sense to me.
Looking at the cast on this, Bill Skarsgård, Nicholas Hoult, Lily Rose Depp, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Willem Dafoe, Emma Corrin. It's a good cast. This is one of those where I think Robert Eggers is really establishing himself as the actor's director. This man is so passionate about everything he makes. If you watch any like behind the scenes, he makes all of his sets from the ground up. The Witch, they built the entire like house and the farmland that they're at. Yeah. Lighthouse, they built the lighthouse from the ground up. They just found a piece of land on the edge of the coast and said, we're building a lighthouse here. So he is very passionate about what he wants to do. Very similar to like Ari Aster, what Ari Aster has done specifically for Midsommar. So I'm eager for Nosferatu. I would probably put that in A, but the second I see a trailer or like some kind of real glimpse of how Skarsgård looks in the makeup, that would probably shoot up to S for me. The last one that we actually do have on here to rank.
Wait a sec. What's going on? My lights are going. Oh, silly Nosferatu. That's a SpongeBob joke for all you playing at home.
Good job. Last one on here doesn't actually have a release date for this year, but it is supposed to come out this year, and I am super hyped for it, and Chris is not going to have an opinion, and that is going to be Maxine. This is the third in Ty West's X trilogy that includes X and Pearl. He's done a good job of building up this world with these characters, or namely the character of Maxine. So I am eager to see where this goes as far as what they're doing. This is supposed to take place after X. So Pearl was a prequel, X, and then Maxine. So this is happening after all of Maxine's friends have been like obliterated in X. So I'm eager to see what she does. She's going to be dealing with some trauma. She's going to probably have a little bit of PTSD, but she still has her eye on that prize, and she wants to see her name up in lights and stuff. And she deserves everything that she should get, or whatever the phrase is. I want what's coming to me. I will go ahead and I'll say that I will put this at the end of S, because Ty West has done such a good job with these movies so far. I want to see what they're going to do with Maxine. Anyways, that's it for the movies that I have on here for us to rank. I don't know if there was like really anything else. I know there's a couple other movies, like there was that first Omen that we got the trailer for. That looks interesting. I'm probably hovering around a C, maybe B on that. I know there's like a Transformers cartoon movie that's coming out in September. D. I know it's supposed to be like Chris Hemsworth is doing the voice of Optimus Prime, which is a crime against humanity. If Peter Cullen is still alive, you get Peter Cullen. That goes without saying.
The other thing I'm wondering is that announced Legend of Zelda animated movie.
Not coming out this year.
Is that not going to come out this year, like towards the end of the year?
Not that I have seen.
Also, it is animated. No, it's not animated. It's live action, right?
I guess.
Oh, I think it's actually supposed to be live action, in which case, yeah, no, it's not coming out this year. Never mind.
Oh, I didn't talk about that Lisa Frankenstein, which looks weird. It's directed by Zelda Williams, who's the daughter of Robin Williams. Screenplay by Diablo Cody, who did Juno. Interesting, starring Catherine Newton and Cole Sprouse.
All right, stop adding movies. We got enough.
Yeah, I don't know of anything else really that I feel like we're missing, but
S tier, I think probably looks fine. A tier, I'm looking at if things need to shift. I would put Sonic. Honestly, I'd put Sonic 3 at the very top. But
yeah, I just don't know if I want to be messing around with shuffling them around right now.
Sonic 3 at the very top, yeah, and then you can kind of shift Beetlejuice however you would want in that category if you want to.
I mean, honestly, I'm gonna do this with minimal adjustments. So like Argyle, it's okay in A tier, but I don't have any like place that I really want it to be. So Argyle could go to the end of A. Beetlejuice, I would probably put higher up.
Yeah, there's very minimal shifting. There's a couple things I think would just rather highlight for each tier rather than the whole tier shifting around. I like Ghostbusters being up high. Planet of the Apes would be higher if I saw the others. If we don't really know a whole lot, Argyle we're going to see next week, so you'll know where we stand on that here pretty soon.
I'm actually that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to move If over here.
B tier looks good for me.
I'm going to go ahead and move. Like I feel like this is probably where it's still okay. I'm going to move Ghostbusters there.
Ooh.
Even though I'm probably more hyped for Planet of the Apes than I am Ghostbusters.
I don't know about that.
Well, it's not.
I would still put Ghostbusters above Abigail for me, but of course I don't know how I feel about Abigail.
Yeah, I'm not putting it above Radio Silence. I will put it above Planet of the Apes though.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Like I said, B tier looks fine to me. C tier looks good. I would actually, honestly, I would almost shift Venom 3, Gladiator 2, and Mufasa above the other three, the first three. Just shift 3 and 3.
Especially, at least Kung Fu Panda and Despicable Me, because I'm not gonna probably go see those.
Yeah, but that would be the only shifts that I could see for that.
I'm actually more inclined to go see Borderlands.
Well, you're inclined to see Borderlands for 1, cast, 2, director. And then once you get a trailer, you'll probably be all on board.
Yeah.
But other than that, I would say the list is fairly good where it's at. This is a very unique looking year. I know last year there was a lot of very nerdy fare to get hyped about, and this year it's just I feel like it's a lot more straightforward. I feel like with Marvel basically taking the year off, so to speak, and then of course we have the DC side of things where they're restructuring everything and we're not going to get anything DC till 2025. There's just a lot of those nerdy fare type movies that we don't actually have a whole lot of this year, which makes it a very interesting year for films that we should be hyped over, because you get a lot of hype over those kinds of movies. Those are the crowd pleasers, so to speak. And there's a lot of movies in here that don't fit into that category necessarily. But there are still a lot of there's still a lot of franchise fare here. There's still a lot of crowd pleasing stuff here. It's just not what you normally expect from year to year at this point, which is, one could say it's refreshing. I like myself some good comic book movies, especially ones that I'm interested in. But also, how do we do for a year kind of devoid of most of them? We'll see. Yeah.
Anyways, I'll clean up this image at some point tomorrow and probably post this. Tomorrow, I'm also going to be working on shooting my next video for my channel, so that'll be a lot of fun. Those of y'all watching, if you've been watching my channel, thank you for that. There's a nice big fat Easter egg clue as to what's coming up next week on my last video, so go watch my falafel burger video and you'll see that. It's going to be a lot of fun, especially if you're a big fan of 90s music. So otherwise, weird place for a plug, but for some reason, that is our ranking of this. So let's go ahead and let's have Carl take this down. Carl, hit it. Carl's on it tonight. Good job, Carl. Anyways, so next month. So here's the one nice thing that I feel like want to kind of brag about for a little bit. We've pretty much got all of the marquees for this entire year already planned out.
For the most part, give or take something kind of springing on us out of nowhere that we're like, oh, we absolutely need to do a marquee over that. Or if we want to do an extra marquee in any given month, we for the most part have every month figured out, which is a very comforting thought.
Yes. So we'll go ahead and say next month. Timing is going to be a little bit off because we need a break. But next month, next marquee will be Friday, February 9th. And that will be a marquee over Henry Cavill movies. So that will be in like celebration of Argyle. So it's the week after Argyle comes out. So I know we're missing out on that like Henry Cavill hype right then and there, but we need like a breather between tonight and next week. I don't want to do it next week. So
sorry about that Henry Cavill hype.
Yeah. So that will be Friday the 9th, Henry Cavill movies. We'll have the list up on Discord. So if you're at the $1 tier on our Discord, you'll be able to see that in our Patreon. As being a part of our Patreon, you'll see it on the Marquee channel.
Yeah.
Anyways, that is all we've got coming up. So anything else we need to plug before we call it a night? I think we're good.
Obviously, if you haven't watched Tagline yet, we went over our Oscar nominations this last Wednesday on Tagline, so you want to go back and check that out if you haven't seen it. Otherwise, stay tuned for this next week. We're going to have a lot of fun stuff on Tagline there, and then keep up with all we're doing here, because we're going to start getting back into those trailer reactions swing again here pretty soon, as we have more trailers beginning to be released.
Yep. So otherwise, make sure you follow us on social media. We are at The Cinefanatics on Twitter and Instagram and also TikTok. I wonder if we're ever going to change that bird.
No.
Will be funny when the bird actually gets changed. When it gets changed back to the bird for us, and then we're like, oh yeah, we didn't have to do any extra work there for that entire year that it was not the bird.
X is not a good brand name.
No, that's terrible. Anyway, so yeah, follow us again, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You can follow me personally at RCA Reacts on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Letterboxd, and youtube.com/RCA Reacts.
He'll get it down at some point.
Yeah, I'm still so stuck on the Robert Adams MLP, but yeah, RCA Reacts, a lot of fun. Good. This is gonna be a fun week this next week. So yeah, go check that out and subscribe over there.
And you can follow me at Chris Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, as well as twitch.tv/Chris Adams MLP.
Yep. Otherwise, those of y'all watching live, we very much appreciate y'all being here. Absolutely love it. Thank you for being here. If you're watching this on a replay, please let us know your thoughts down below in the comments. I'm pretty sure people are going to yell at us about Dune and Gladiator 2, so bring it.
That's fine.
It's our opinions. That's cool.
That's fine.
Otherwise, yeah, while you're down there, make sure you hit that like button, hit subscribe if you haven't done that already. We're doing great for 2024 so far. I want to hit that 5,000 by the end of this year. So let's go with that. Otherwise, yeah, that's going to do it for tonight. Thank y'all for watching. We appreciate each and every single one of y'all, and we will see y'all later. Good night.
Bye.